Okay, this is the last day where we have variables only on one side, and then we'll start seeing variables on both sides. So, as a reminder, some of the rules that we're going to be using is we're going to distribute. We're going to get rid of parentheses, and then we can clear out fractions, and we'll add like terms. We'll undo those add or subtracts. We'll undo that multiply or divide, and we'll watch our signs. So the only thing new we're going to see a lot today is parentheses, which isn't really new because we've dealt with those already this year. So we're going to distribute to get rid of those parentheses first. So I get 3p minus 15 equals a 15. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 15 by adding 15 to both sides because that creates that 0. And I get 3p is equal to 30. I'll divide by 3 on both sides, and I'll get p is 10. Number 2, see another set of parentheses, so we'll distribute those that 5 through. 5 times 2 is 10x, and 5 times 1 is 5. We'll get the x by itself by undoing this subtraction, so we'll add 5 to both sides. That creates the 0. Add 10x equals 20. And then we'll divide by 10 on both sides to get the x by itself, which gives me a 2. For my next problem, I'm only distributing the 3 to what's inside the parentheses. Do not distribute the 3 to the 8. So it's 3p minus 3 times 5, which is 15, plus 8 equals 17. Combining my like terms this time because I can actually put together my negative 15 and my positive 8. Negative 15 and positive 8 gives me a negative 7. I can undo the negative 7 by adding 7 to both sides. And then I can add those together, which gives me 24. Divide by 3 on both sides gives the p completely by itself, which gives you an answer of 8. Next problem, I have multiple choice to choose from. If you couldn't come up with the answer, you could plug in each of these answers to see which one works. We're going to distribute the 4 only to the x and to the 3. That's what's inside the parentheses. So I get 4x minus 12. And then I'll bring down my plus 3 equals 15. Combine the like terms. I have a negative 12 and a positive 3, which gives me a negative 9. I will add 9 to both sides, which gives me 4x equals 24. And I'll divide by 4 on both sides, which gives me an answer of 6. My answer is B. On my next problem here, what makes this tricky is that people think there's nothing to distribute, but we are really just distributing this negative 1 through, or this negative sign. So we've got a 3x, negative times a positive is a negative, and negative times a positive is a negative, and there's my equation. On the left-hand side, I can combine my 3x and my negative 2x for a positive 1x, and then I can solve for x by getting rid of the negative 5 by adding 5 to both sides, and I end up with the answer of x equals 15. For the last problem in this section, I have multiple choice, so again, I could sit and plug in these answers to see which one works, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to notice that I actually have a negative 3 here. Okay, if I change my sign to plus the opposite, you really see it. But you do have a minus sign here, so you have to really make sure that you distribute that negative through. That's one of the biggest errors that will take place. So I end up getting a 3x, and then a negative 3 times a positive 2 is a negative 6x, and then a negative 3 times a positive 6 is a negative 18, equals 27. We'll combine like terms and end up getting a negative 3x plus a negative 18 equals 27. And get rid of the negative 18 by adding 18 to both sides. That ends up giving me a 45. And then I'll divide by negative 3 on both sides. And I get x is equal to negative 15.